Whew. We dug Donald up on special occasions. Queen's birthday, Maureen's wedding, the day Aunt Maud was blown up. She stumbled upon one of Hitler's finest, lodged in her chimney breast. Her picture was in the Herald. We dug Donald up for Uncle Norman's funeral. It seemed fitting and proper, the right thing to do. The mother would be most insistent. She would say, "We can't have Donald buried on happening days," she would say of such days. "He simply has to be brought up." She'd fold her arms, and then she'd aim her bottom lip at us, as if in threat, daring us to question her. We never did, of course. "Father," she would say, "I want Donald on the table within the half hour." And Father would be dispatched in haste, spade in hand. He'd mutter into his upturned collar of injustices against warm armchairs and slippers. But they were quiet mutterings beyond the bat-like hearing of the mother. There was never any grass where Donald was buried. Didn't venture forth when he'd been dug up several times. And it was a quiet spot, near the back of the garden, by the fence, underneath the tree where the sun didn't seem to bother it. And it was guarded by a discarded and seemingly immortal gnome who fished hopelessly into the soil. A single stone stood against the passage of time. Years before, we'd painted words on it. "Here lies Donald, Donald lies here." Here stood Father mopping his brow. He hadn't started digging yet. Me and my brother Harold, we'd trundle along with the tea and biscuits, and then we'd sit next to the sprouts and the potatoes, and we'd talk about our future. "One day, digging up Donald will be your responsibility," Father said. We never answered. We always knew digging up Donald would be our duty. Never needed saying. We knew a crowd would gather whenever they noticed activity underneath the tree. Word of Father being dispatched with spade in hand never took long to spread. Everybody liked to see Donald being dug up. "Morning, Mr. Abershaw," said Mr. Cripps, as he peered precariously over the fence. "Digging up Donald?" We always thought he was going to break into song, the musical way he would say that. "Aye," said Father. "Mother says it's an happening day. No doubt someone's died or been born or something like that. So it's up for Donald and no arguments from me." Mr. Cripps smiled and said, "Well, it's a nice day to be an happening day, Mr. Abershaw. Not too hot, not too cold. Donald would not suffer to be brought up on a day like this, not suffer at all." We didn't like Mr. Cripps. He had pointed knees. It was like to poke his nose in. He had a son called Snotty. He was older than us and stole our frisbee. Father snorted in his labours, and as if by invitation, Mr. Cripps would appear on our side of the fence. Snotty called Donald some hurtful names, ill-befitting of the buried. A neat hole at Father's feet, and a mound of earth on his Wellingtons. And that meant one thing. We'd soon hear the familiar as the spade hit Donald's box. And then, well,